Well, up in snow-covered Minnesota, a concerned citizen called into the Jordan, Minnesota police to report a man with no coat on, standing out in the freezing cold, hugging a pillow. Officers rushed to the scene, only to find a life-size cardboard cutout of My Pillow founder, Mike Lindell. The police said, hey, it's better to call them out than not. And in the end, they found it was the most comfortable call they'd ever been on. Guaranteed. Now, I know Mike. He's been on our show right here. And if he were locked outside in a blizzard with only one thing to help him survive, I am dead certain he'd take one of his pillows. He'd say, nothing goes better within the thick blanket of snow than a My Pillow. And by the way, if you were with him in the cold, no problem. He'd be clutching his classic My Pillow, but he'd have a second pillow for you, absolutely free. I think we're going to call this one a soft news story. Or either we'll call it a real sleeper. How's that? Meanwhile, in Wisconsin, a neighbor's attempted prank turned into a very serious police call. The Muskego police were called to address a suspicious animal spotted on a resident's lawn. It was a man dressed in a panda suit. Now, when the officers arrived, they discovered a 48-year-old resident in a giant panda costume. He said he'd been asked to dog sit a friend's house and thought it'd be kind of funny to do it dressed up. You know what I love about pandas? They're black, white, and Asian. I mean, you can almost hear all of the racist minds exploding right now, right? Well, the man went on to say, and I quote, I knew that my neighbors had a security camera set up, and I thought, well, I'm going to make the ordinary extraordinary. I'm going to dress up in the panda outfit. So just as I was about to pivot and walk up my lawn, I turn around and I see at least 3 squad cars with a 4th and 5th one coming, end quote. Sounds like his prank turned to pure pandemonium. And the homeowners where he was supposed to dog sit confirmed that the man was allowed at their home. Now, when the dog was asked his opinion of the panda prank, he just said, rough, rough. I guess the audience will just have to grin and bear it on that. You know, this whole story reminds me of the man who went to the movies, and when he sat down, he noticed there was a panda sitting right next to him. Shocked by this, he asked the panda, what are you doing at this movie? And the panda politely replied, well, I like the book. I said, I liked the book, the panda said. The panda said that at the movie. That's... Keith, would you explain that to them?
I'm trying to understand it myself.
Forget about it. Okay. All right, everyone loves cat videos, right? So here's one of those, well, sort of. Okay, it's not exactly a cat video. Those are cat lovers in China brawling over a special cat coffee cup at Starbucks. The cup has a cat's paw design that only appears when you fill it with hot liquid. It's sort of a grande venti kitty. This cup is so popular with friends of felines that supplies ran low. Now, whenever a few cups pop up at Starbucks anywhere in China, it turns into, wait for the dramatic pause. This may be the slowest audience we've had in a while. It turns into a real cat fight. And now down to the Florida Keys, we turn to another item. There is a sound that might be mistaken by some for a cat fight. No, that's not Trey Corley tooting his own horn. That's the 57th annual conch shell blowing contest in Key West. That's right, they've been listening to that for 57 years. And as you can hear, getting music out of a conch shell is like a dog walking on its hind legs. You don't expect it to be done well, you're just surprised it can be done at all. Well, this year's top winner in the men's division, David Bat Masterson, honked out the 60s hit Tequila. And after listening to that all day, I'll bet the judges were desperate for a little tequila. Now, to be honest with you, I don't drink at all, but I'd probably start if I had to judge that contest. And last week, thousands of Italians took to the streets of a lovely village to throw citrus at one another during the annual Battle of the Oranges. Now, I'm not talking about orange soda and some fantasy here. These are solid baseball-sized oranges. That's right. And officials from the town of Ivrea brought in more than 500 tons of oranges from Sicily for this event, which is part of the Carnival of Ivrea. So the food fight lasts for 3 days. And friends, it's gotta hurt being hit by an orange. But on the bright side, at least Sicily doesn't send watermelons for them to use. Now, I don't know how it could be avoided with so much pelting going on, but I hope no one gets hit in the head or the navel. And aren't you glad you heard this story, and you heard it right here? Well, just like a North Korean dictator who has overplayed his hand, we've run out of time. But always remember, we read the news,